Okay. Rule number 3. Chaos is a strategy. That's rule number 3. And this is like rule number 2, where it's not something that you're necessarily breaking. It's something I want you to follow, be more aware of. So, rule number 3, chaos is a strategy. The reason for this rule, the reason why people utilize this is it redirects attention of people and it creates division. So, an example or a way to think about this is one, where there is smoke, there is likely fire. And then two, it's also a strategy of smoke and mirrors, right? And so let's talk about when chaos is a strategy, when it might play out at work. So, what's happening? What's the event? Maybe there's no direction right now. Maybe things are just crazy and no one seems to know what's going on. Or we'll use the example of the 45th president. Maybe there's misdirection, miscommunication, misinformation being put out, right? Chaos is a strategy, right? Another way that this plays out is deadlines are being pushed or deadlines are being missed. Things are just chaotic. No one has any sense that things are stable. Maybe no one has answers to relevant questions. Maybe someone calls out a non-issue in your area to hide an issue in theirs. So sometimes when chaos is happening or when someone is leveraging chaos as a strategy, they'll point the finger at you or call out something that's not that big of a deal. They'll make something a big deal in your area because while people are worried about or all into what you're doing and you're having to explain, no one's asking questions about what's going on in their area. Chaos is also a strategy. It may not always be a strategy, but it is a strategy, right? And so, what happens when there's chaos? What do you do? When there's chaos, you want things to level out. So, you attempt to solve problems that are not your problem to solve this. You also get frustrated. We get frustrated by moving targets. We get frustrated because people don't have no damn answers, right? What else happens? What else do you do when chaos is happening? You go on the defensive to prove your position. So this goes to someone has said there's smoke in your area, that something's going wrong in your area. Now you're on the defensive. And sometimes we end up on the defensive in the workplace, but now you're trying to prove your position. And you're probably going over above and beyond because you feel like you have to prove something just as a Black woman altogether. So now everybody is looking at you. Now, why do you do it? For Black women in particular, and for Black people, when there is chaos, it heightens our sense of there not being safety. When there is chaos, when we don't feel like we're in control or have control, we feel unsafe for obvious reasons. And this plays out in the workplace. So chaos for us equates to lack of safety. So we seek to restore order in order to feel like we're in control, in order to feel safe. But safety isn't something that you get by trying to do and work problems that are not yours to solve. In fact, it positions you to be even more unsafe than you were if you'd have just focused in on what's in your realm and what's your responsibility to control. Okay. Now, chaos is a strategy. Crazy mess is happening at work. There's no direction. Deadlines are being pushed, and no one has any questions. I'm sorry, any answers to your questions. And so you're trying to solve the problems. You're trying to create order. You're trying to help. And you're also trying to defend yourself from people who might be pointing the finger at you. And you do this because, again, chaos equals not safe. Like that's how we see it. And we're trying to reestablish safety in our work environment. But let's talk about how other people experience that. When we're trying to create safety because we're thinking about how it's making us feel, we intervene, we solve problems that can unknowingly make us a target, that can unknowingly put us in the line of fire when we wasn't supposed to be in that line of fire, right? If my goal is to create chaos, you stepping in the way to try to fix that, sis, is a problem. If my goal is to be divisive and you're trying to be a bridge on two sides where either side is not your business or your problem, or it's not your level to solve, you become a target, right? So you want to think about when I say this thing, when I fix this thing, yes, it's a problem. Is it my work to solve? Because that's how other people see it. Or another way they see it is, I'm going to take you down because you're kind of like a know it all, all right? Or you're a distraction, right? So sometimes people will leverage you or point the finger at you in order that you become a distraction so that people can't see what that person is doing. Chaos is a strategy. Chaos being a strategy, the 45th president, he is an example of that. He seems like he's all over the place. He seems like he's just twittering. But every time he twitters, it creates chaos. It creates buzz. It creates divisiveness between parties of people. Chaos is a strategy. Here's what I don't want you to change in chaos. I don't want you to change your ability to see problems and solutions. I'm not saying don't have a solution for the problems. I'm saying in order to lead, you have to understand what of the chaos is relevant, its impacts, and is it yours to solve. Get comfortable with people not having answers. Get comfortable with the rest being noise and it being messy. Just because there is chaos does not mean that you can't stand. Just because there's chaos, it also doesn't mean that you can't lead or that you shouldn't lead. What it means, though, is you have to understand what game is being played in this chaos and who's playing this game before you step into the game or into the line of fire or into the chaos to try to resolve it. Right? Because when you step into the middle of something that you were not supposed to be a part of, then it's like getting hit by a stray bullet and you become a casualty of something that you wasn't meant to be a casualty of, but now you are. Right? So chaos is a strategy. It's not always a strategy, but it is a strategy. And understanding that means that you can now see, okay, why don't they know answers? Are we in a recession and our company doesn't have answers because they're trying to decide which of these objectives we're going to meet? Maybe they don't have answers because a reorg is coming. Maybe they don't have answers because our numbers are bad and they're trying to figure out what to do or what message they're going to communicate to the outside world, right? These are more relevant questions other than what can I do or other than sitting by waiting and being upset about what's happening and the fact that nobody has answers. There are always answers, whether people say them or not, if you're paying attention to what's happening. If someone else is creating chaos in someone else's areas, it's because chaos resides in their area and they're trying to distract people from that so that they can get their shit together. Chaos is a strategy, sis. Remember that.